or how do you have sex? This is the question that most people want to know about. How do you have sex in your parents' house? Hey YouTube, what's up? My name is Shifting to the Side. Okay, let's do this. YouTube, what's up? My name is Jordan, and today is going to be a good day. Do you know why? Because we're going to make it that way. So recently I was over at a friend's house for his new job, so congrats friend. But I was over at his house for to celebrate that he got a new job, and while I was there I was telling some people about a little achievement or two in my life that's happening, and I actually just got my very first place. Now it's not this one, this is my soon-to-be old room at my mom's, but while I was talking to everybody, someone did bring up, they're like, wait a second, you live at home with your mom still? And I was like, yeah, I do, but like, you know, it has its perks and its benefits. And they were like, yeah, no, I get that, but you live at home with your mom still. How can you even stand that? And like, while we were talking, I realized that like they were asking questions that, number one, I've been asked by so many other people before, and number two, just questions that kind of suck to be asked a bunch of times. But I do see kind of like why people do ask them. Some people are like out on their own and they're like, should I move back home and save money? Some people are on their own and they're like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I thought I would just ask the most questions that have been asked to me. As you can see, I got a little list right here. I have 5 parent questions and 5 like moving out questions. And since I tend to answer things pretty long and like long-winded answers, I thought it'd be good just to do 5 of each. But yeah. So this is like one of the first Q&As. This is one of the first Q&As in this channel. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. But let's get into it. So let's go. So the first question, and this is going to come from the parent side. The first question I got is, how do you deal with living with your parents? And to be honest, they gave birth to me and I lived with them initially for 18 years. So that's a lot of how I deal with it. But kind of all jokes aside, the way that I deal with living with them is kind of different for each one. So when I was living with my dad for like only about a month, living with him was a lot harder for me because he still treats me like I'm 16 years old. Honestly, I had a little bit more freedom at 16 with him than I do at 23. So with my dad, he likes things a very specific way. He believes in children are your children until the end of time. And so whenever I would make like decisions for myself, he wouldn't really like it. Not that he wouldn't like me making decisions for myself. Like, I had a curfew of 12, which was the same curfew I had when I was 16. No, when I was 17. So your curfew would go by your year grade. So he was like, at 23, he's like, you need to be home by 12. You need to do this. You need to do that. And like, I don't know. It would always bug me. And it's like, if I was like, oh, I want to go out with my friends and go for a drink, he'd get on my case about it. Or I'm trying to think, like boys, he would definitely get on my case, and it was just like, okay, I could live with my dad or I could live with my mom. I'm gonna go live with my mom instead. So I went to go live with her, and living with my mom was a lot easier because we have a better understanding of each other. I still don't really drink, mainly because Dallas is about an hour away from where I live, like the parts of Dallas that I go to. And whenever I'm like down there, like to get back to my house from work, I have to go to a workspace, come back, and then I go past my workspace, past that to go into Dallas, and it's just like so much work and it's so much effort. It takes me like an hour to put on my makeup, so I'm not really trying to go back and forth that much. And that has nothing to do with the question exactly. It's just I'm thinking about the commute and how frustrating it is. But basically, it's not as bad living with my mom because she's more of like, you're an adult, you can handle yourself, just keep your room clean and go to church with me, and then we're solid, we're golden pony boy. And so for the most part it's pretty okay. I just don't feel like I have any privacy, which I believe blends into question number 2. Yeah, and question 2 is, do you get any privacy? The answer is a resounding fucking no. I don't get any privacy. I remember when we first moved into this place, because she just got this house about a year ago. When we first moved in, my door didn't have a lock on it, like my personal door, and so I was telling the handyman, I was like, hey, I think you messed up with one of the handles. My door doesn't have a lock, can you please change that? So the guy was like, oh yeah, sure, like I'll get that done. As he's out going to go grab a new handle, my mom's like, oh no, don't worry about it, she doesn't need a lock. And I was like, just so you understand. What? Like, I was pretty confused and hurt as to why I didn't need a lock, and she's like, you don't need a lock, this is my house, whatever you're doing doesn't need to be a secret. And so it was that thing where it's like, again, privacy is not really a thing that I have. Like, I have my own room, but even when she first got the house, like, I would have to have my room clean all the time because she would want to show people the house. And when I would like literally be laying on my bed, she would walk in and be like, oh, this is the guest bedroom, while everyone's like, isn't this Jordan's room because she's staying in it? And she's like, no, this is the guest bedroom, she's a guest right now, she gonna move out. And so yeah, not a lot of privacy. Is it worth it to live there? So the question is it worth it to like live with my parents? I think yes and no. I was able to pay off a majority of my student debt, so like student loans and stuff, and pay off some credit card debt, like enough to like really get me started, I feel like. So yes, I think that's really great. I think if my commute wasn't so bad and I had a little bit of privacy, I could hold off like another month or two. But yeah, I think it's worth it in that aspect. But it's also really hard to make friends when you live in the suburbs. Like right now, I'm in a middle age, it feels like, because everyone else is like college age, or everyone else is like in their like mid to late 30s or 40s or whatever. And so I'm just like over on this side, not talking to anybody, and like to get to Dallas, it's quite a drive. So I think when it comes to like planning for your future, moving back home with your parents is definitely a good idea. It's a good investment. But when it comes to like getting your own life started in the immediate, it kind of sucks a little bit. But sometimes you got to make that initial investment. Number 4, how do you have friends over? I have 4 people that come over: Tori, Leah, April, and Amani. And if you're not part of that 4, you're probably not coming over to my house. I've had my friend Ben come over a few times, but outside of that, like, unless you already knew my parents and knew my family, you're not coming over. It's a lot to like introduce new people. And on the note of like having no privacy, if we're talking and I say an expletive, like I say fuck or shit or something like that, and my mom hears me, like I get a chill down my spine because I can feel that shoe getting ready to be thrown at me. So I try my best not to. I just try to meet up with people. Some people kind of think I'm being shady because I never invite them over, but like, what are we gonna do, sit in my room and talk about boys? Honestly, yeah. Honestly, yeah. But yeah, it's a lot easier to not. And then the 5th question is, how do you have a significant other over, or how do you have sex? This is the question that most people want to know about. How do you have sex in your parents' house? So I don't, not just because I live with my parents, well, my mom, but because I made the choice back in January to be celibate for at least 1 year. I don't have sex, I don't do anything over here. And if you guys want to know about why I'm celibate, I'd totally tell you. It's not an easy feat either, but number 1, because I'm celibate, that's why I'm not having sex. Number 2, there's something truly weird about having sex in your parents' house, especially if you've moved out and you've lived on your own. And number 3, I think that if I ever had sex and my mom found out, she would just burn me alive. Just so, but as for having significant others over, I've like gone on a few dates and I've like talked to a couple of different guys. The one guy that I don't know if I mentioned this, one guy, I did bring him over, and it was like a night where I thought my mom was gone, and while I was texting her, she was like, oh no, I'm still in Dallas. And so I was like, okay, I'm bringing a friend over, like please don't be in the living room when I come over. And she was of course in the living room just waiting for my ass. Like it was so frustrating. But I walked in with the guy, and like they introduced each other, got introduced and everything, and it was one of the most uncomfortable moments of like my 2017 year, and a lot of weird stuff has happened. Most forward to when you're gonna be out on your own. The thing that I'm looking, I think, the most forward to is just having like my own space, having some privacy, but definitely the commute. And like not only the commute from like work to home, But like going to Dallas and being able to kind of be more in Dallas, and like if I want to go out and make friends out there, it's a lot better chance of me doing that versus me living on this side. Because again, that hour commute, like once I'm inside, I'm not leaving this house again. No siree, no baby. Number 2, are you nervous to move? Yes. I'm a lot more nervous to move than when I was in college, because in college I was like, oh, I can definitely come home again. And now I'm like, no, I really can't. I don't really have as much of a safety net when I move out this time. So part of me feels nervous and part of me feels kind of scared. But part of me is just like, if I wasn't nervous, then that would probably be weird for me. So number 3, what are you going to miss the most about being at home? So I'm really big into family. Like my parents, even though they are divorced, they're still really good friends. And like we hung out like a couple days ago. When did I get back from Austin? Last Sunday, so about a week ago. Like my dad came over and we all hung out. Sometimes on my way home, my dad's like, oh hey, do you like want to come over? Do we want to all go get dinner? And I do like that a lot, just being able to like hang out with both of them, because even though they're my parents, they're still kind of like 2 of my closest friends. I know, I'm a little butterball of cheese. That sounds kind of gross, but if you fried it at the state fair, it might be good. Hello ADHD, how are you doing today? Wow. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna miss the most hanging out with like my parents. Oh, and not paying rent. I'm gonna miss that. I already miss it so much. But there's that. The next question number 4. Are you going to be living alone? And if you are, do you think it's best? I am going to be living alone. I do think it's best because my last roommate tried to stab me. My last roommate in college legitimately tried to stab me. So, yeah. And then my first ever roommate when I was in the dorms was like a drug dealer. Yeah, so I've had good roommates in between there. I also had like this roommate who was like pseudo racist, which was just so awesome, so great. And yeah, so I think it's gonna be nice being able to like live by myself. If next year I want to get a roommate, then I will. But I'd much rather just like live on my own for right now. And this one, question number 5, kind of goes into the one that asking about what am I going to miss the most about home, which is question number 5 is, will you still see your parents a lot? I think I will. I plan to see my mom at least like once a week for church, so it might be twice a week depending on like how my work schedule goes and if I can go to church. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to add in a bonus question just because that one does tie in a lot. The question that I think would be the bonus question is, am I gonna get a dog since I live on my own? And that's kind of up in the air. I think I'm gonna want a dog after the winter time, just because when it starts to warm up a little bit again, that's gonna be best. I don't want to go through the snow right now. I'm looking farther ahead, like months wise. I don't want to go through the snow. And then in September, I move September 1st. I go to DC the end of September. And then I am going to Camp Flogna. And that's in the end of October, I believe. And then I'm supposed to go visit my sister in Virginia. So that's a lot of traveling. And I just want to kind of get my traveling on my system really quickly before I adopt a dog, because it's a lot of work. But I think that is about it. I actually have a little dinner date. No, it's not a date. I'm going to go hang out with my friend, and we're going to grab dinner together before she heads back to Houston, because she's in med school. Everyone's in med school. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, if you have anything that you're like, yo, how do you deal with this problem when you're living with your parents? Or, you know, what's coming up for the future for your new apartment? I know I haven't done any of those vlogs. Let me see if I can like show you guys the pictures of like the videos. I have hella videos. Let's hop over here. Like all of this right here, all of this is videos that I need to sit down and edit, because I was supposed to do that. I was supposed to talk about these clip-ins that I have in. I know they look pretty good for clip-ins, but the clip-ins that I have in are from Kara's hair group. So I'm supposed to do that video and a couple other ones, moving vlogs, traveling vlogs, little sit down Q&A chit chats. I'm thinking about doing a makeup one. Clearly not with this look. This is like a very low-key Sunday look for me. I really only put on like primer and because like to blur out my pores a little bit. So primer, eyeliner, and lipstick, and I'm like ready to go out. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say right now. Feel free to follow me on like my social needs. Follow me on Snap because like I mentioned, I'm going some really cool places. And follow me on Insta because you know what? Cool places. It's really warm in here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.